Ya Kundra Bihari Yamuna Tiravanachari Raya Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Bol, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Bol, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Bol, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 1, 2, 3 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Nitya Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitya Gaur Hari Bol Jai Jai Prabhupada 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Nisringadev 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 Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Sisi Gornitai ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, South Bangalore ISKCON ki jai, Go Premananda Hari Go. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Could you please move a little bit more close? Otherwise I feel lonely here. I don't want to feel lonely. Move up. Hare Krishna. Much better. Jnana Vijnana Yogena Kamanam Udaran Jataha Hiranyakesha Padmaksha Padma Mudra Padambujaha Jnana Vijnana Yogena Karmanam udaram jataha Hiranya kesha padmaksha Padma mudra padam buja Jnana vijnana yogena Karmanam udaram jataha Hiranya kesha padmaksha Padma mudra padam buja Padma mudra padam bujaha Jnana of scriptural knowledge, Vijnana and application, Yogena by means of mystic yoga, Karmanam of material actions, Udran uprooting, Jataha the roots, Hiranyakesha golden hair, Padma Akshaha lotus-eyed, Padma Mudra marked with the signs of the lotus, Pada Ambujaha having lotus feet. By mystic yoga and the practical application of knowledge from the scriptures, Kapila Muni, who is characterized by his golden hair, his eyes just like lotus petals, and his lotus feet, which bear the marks of lotus flowers, will uproot the deep-rooted desire for work in this material world. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In this verse, the activities and bodily features of Kapila Muni are very nicely described. Activities of Kapila Muni are forecast herein. He will present the philosophy of Sankhya in such a way that by studying his philosophy, people will be able to uproot the deep-rooted desire for karma, fruitive activities. Everyone in this world engages in achieving the fruit of his labor. A man tries to be happy by achieving the fruit of his own honest labor, but actually he becomes more and more entangled. One cannot get out of this entanglement unless he has perfect knowledge or devotional service. Those who are trying to get out of the entanglement by speculation are also doing their best, but in Vedic scriptures we find that if one has taken to devotional service of the Lord in Krishna consciousness, he can very easily uproot the deep-rooted desire for fruitive activities. Sankhya philosophy will be broadcast by Kapila Muni for that purpose. His bodily features are also described herein. Jnana does not refer to ordinary research work. Jnana entails receiving knowledge from the scriptures through the spiritual master by reciproc accession. In the modern age, there's a tendency to do research by mental speculation and concoction. But the man who speculates forgets that he himself is subject to the four defects of nature. Sure to commit mistakes, his senses are imperfect, he is sure to fall in illusion, and he is cheating. Unless one has perfect knowledge from the reciproc accession, he simply puts forth some theories of his own creation, therefore he is cheating people. Jnana means knowledge received through the reciproc accession from scripture, and Vijnana means practical application of such knowledge. Kapila Muni, Sankhya system of philosophy is based on Jnana and Vijnana. Amagyantimirandasya gananjana shlakaya chakshurmilitam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manovishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam He Krishna Karna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagapati Gopasha Gopi Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Suradevi Pranamami Hiri Pre Vanchakalpatruviyasya Kripa Sinvaevacha Paridhana Pavanevi Vaishnavi Vidamanama Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So, in the material world, the common modus operandi, it is called in Latin. Modus means the way you work, the mode. Operandi, the way how you work. The common modus operandi in the material world is speculation. People speculate. My life should be like this, and my life should be like that. And I want to go here, I want to go there, and I want to do this, and I want to do that. I want to fly to the moon, I want to go to the different planet. And there is no end to the speculation of human beings, and you can be sure the entire material civilization is nothing but speculation and cheating. That's a fact. And in this way you have personalities, big political personalities, who are cheating their way through life, and ultimately their future is not very bright. You may escape the attention of the people, but you will not escape the attention of Yamaraj. Even if you're as famous as Lalu, the chief minister of, what is it? Bihar. He's as, even in Germany, people have heard about Lalu, right? He is the most famous person in Bihar, you know, right? Kundu knows. You're from Bihar, right? So, and he will not escape. One day the show will be over. Yamaraj goes, okay, it's time, Baba. Laluji, come here in our treatment. You know, leave Bihar behind and come into my care. And so there are big Lalus, there are small Lalus, but in the material world, everybody is a descendant of Lalu in some in some way or another. And so even if they make a film about Lalu, which I heard is intended, he may be very famous by material standards, but from a spiritual point of view, his life is a catastrophe. It's a catastrophe. Like life of most people is actually a catastrophe. You know, one of my relatives, she wrote me on the internet. She said, now my house has double window glazing. Whole houses has double glazing window. He said, now I can die in peace. Give me a break, because your house is double glazed, you can die in peace. There's no such a thing. Peace is only yatva mam shantim ritsati. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, one who knows me, yatva mam shantim ritsati, he can achieve peace, nobody else. And so all these endeavors, you know, that rock stars heap up enormous amount of money or enormous amount of degrees. And like yesterday evening I was talking about this professor in Germany that I visited, who speaks something like 53 Indian dialects. He studied Indian dialects and Sanskrit. And I asked him, have you read Bhagavad Gita? He said, sure. He said, I read Bhagavad Gita all the time. So I said, what's your conclusion? He said, I never think about that. I just study the language, the Sanskrit. I'm interested in the Sanskrit. I'm not interested in what's going on there. He said, do you know what's going on there? No, never thought about it. So he's that close, and still, because he's Maya Apahita Jnana. Maya Apahita, his knowledge is stolen by illusion. He doesn't see the obvious, which is right there. You see, it's a tragedy. People's material life ends up in a tragedy that they lost everything they have. There's no gain in it. You know, everything is gone. And so, because they don't have knowledge taken from authorized sources. You need to take knowledge. Like, I mean, world religions are so misled because there's no parampara. Na kaleniya Mahata yogo nashta parantapa. When the disciplic succession is lost, the knowledge is lost. No knowledge. They may say so many things, they may have enormous theories. Since the 15th century, famous saintly persons have tried to justify how in the presence of so much evil in the world, God can be just. Books have been written by famous Thomas of Aquino. That's in the 12th century. But there's no conclusion. After all this, no conclusion. Nobody knows what is going on. Because it is all based on mental speculation. It's not based on Shastra, it's not based on Guru Parampara. Yes, Shastra Vidim Utsidra. What is this verse? Vatati Kamakarata. Nasisidim, there's no perfection. Nasasidim avapnati, no sukham, no happiness. Na paramgatim, no can achieve the supreme destination. What a wonderful verse in Bhagavad Gita. Everything is here. Everything is here. Yashastra vidi utsida. If you do not hear from scripture or from parampara, then you will remain certified stupid for the rest of your life. You know, no matter how, you may have a huge brain, but it is a buffalo brain. It's still the brain of a buffalo, you know, and most people in the material world have a buffalo brain because they cannot get around the simple thing to turn to Krishna or ask the devotee a question. And they're writing big books about how is it that the innocent suffer. Why don't you ask Bhakta Joe, who just joined the Hare Krishna movement a couple of days ago? He'll tell you. Very simple, he will tell you, right? Everybody knows. So, Shastric knowledge is absolutely necessary. That's why Krishna says, that verse, Raja Vidya Raja Guyam, king of knowledge, Raja Vidyam, Raja Guyam, the greatest secret. Because it's a secret. It's right in front of their nose. Right in front of their nose. They just have to pick up a Bhagavad Gita, it's there. But it's a secret. It's not accessible. Maya does not allow people to understand it. As simple as that. They could understand, they may have the brain, but Maya doesn't allow them because of karma, because of karmic predicament. Maya can just, under the influence of Daivi Maya, nobody's able to understand anything. And with Krishna's grace, we can understand everything. With Krishna's grace. By listening to Guru Parampara, by listening to Krishna's words, by listening to his pastimes, by listening to his holy name, we can understand everything very easily. Even a child can. I remember when Shyamasundara's little daughter, Saraswati, she was asked by Krishna, who is Krishna? She was 4 years old, and she said, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Prabhu said, just see. She has perfect knowledge. That's all she heard it. Krishna is Supreme Person. It's a perfect answer. Who is God? Krishna is God. Why? Well, he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everything is there, you know, simple. Like Prabhupada used to say that spiritual life is simple for the simple and complicated for the crooked. People who are crooked, you know, they don't have that type of desire to understand God. They use God. Yes, I pray to God. They pray over their lunch, and what is lying in front of them is meat. Right? They don't connect. Then how do you feel? Do you have children? How many? Older, young, ladka or ladki? Ladka. 2 boys. What is a younger boy? How old? Very tasty. If I would come to you, this is a very nice young boy, I would like to eat him. How would you feel? How would you feel? How does God feel if I eat his children? Krishna says in Bhagavad, Ambija Pradapita. He's the father of all living creatures. And yet, people eat Krishna's sons and daughters and go to church. what is the use of it? What is the use of it? If I eat your son and then I said, well, let's now dance in kirtan. Everything is okay. Why you so take it personally? I just satisfy my appetite. You know, how can we connect with God? You know, the religion means, in its Latin language descriptions, means to legare. Legare means to connect. So the whole world in the West knows that word religion, but they don't penetrate the actual meaning. It means to reconnect. And as soon as I say reconnect, it implies that I was connected before. You cannot reconnect to somebody if you were not connected before. You cannot have a reunion, a family reunion, unless you were together as a family. So the word re means again. So even in this little word, you just have to penetrate one little word, namely the word religion. We can understand that we are not connected right now, and the process of religion brings us to the point of connecting with God. It's as simple as that. And you can see this in Bhagavad Gita, in the 6th chapter. There is a verse number, what is this, Bhagavad Gita? Verse number 2. If somebody can give me Bhagavad Gita 6:2. Okay. What is called renunciation, you should know to be the same as yoga. And now comes the explanation of yoga, linking with the Supreme. That's the same word like religion, to link with the Supreme. You know, that's what it is. Spiritual life means to link with Supreme, for one can never become a yogi unless one renounces the desire for sense gratification. So we may not be able from one day to another to renounce our desire for sense gratification, because we are in the material world since a very, very long time. Since a very long time. You cannot expect from one day to another to give up this tendency to enjoy. However, there is a verse in the Bhagavad Gita, I don't know this, 246. No. That's not the one. Here it is. It is, how do you see what verse it is? Verse number? Second chapter, verse 49. The secret is given here. O Dhananjaya, keep all abominable activities far distant. Now it comes by devotional service. So by the power of devotional service, a person can keep all abominable activities far away. And in that consciousness, surrender to the Supreme Lord. Those who want to enjoy the fruit of their work are misers. So this verse is very important, because you can understand from here, if you want to avoid material attachment, the method to that is devotional service. Otherwise not, even if you try. People try to become free from sinful habits, from attachment. They can't. Because it's ingrained, it's part of our nature, practically speaking. But the power to do that is actually devotional service. And there's another verse, Visha vinivartate nira rasya dehina, rasa vajram rasopyasya param dishmani vartate. That one may keep oneself away from sense gratification, but the taste remains. That's where it is. That's why the word taste is very important. We have a taste for it. Like, why do we like pizza? Because we have a taste for pizza. And this taste develops. The more we eat pizza, the more we like pizza. Or uttapam, here in South India. You like uttapam, you have a taste for it. One of my favorite sweets is kadra. You know kadra? Jagannatham? Kadra. I hope the Bengalis are listening in the kitchen. Kadra is just wonderful. I have a taste for it. I was a young boy in maybe 26 years old. I came to Jagannath Puri and somebody gave me kadra. All day I ate kadra because it was so nice, So we have a taste for it. So how do we give up the taste that Trishna, it's called Trishna, taste for the material world? Maya Trishna. How do we give this up? By devotional service. In the spiritual world, everybody has Krishna, Trishna, the taste. Or Ruchi, in the Rupa Goswami, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kirtana, Anatana Viti Sat, and then Nishtha, and then there's Ruchi, taste. How do I come to this taste? By devotional service. Gradually, it builds up one layer of devotional service after the other. It's not in vain. Krishna says that. Neha vikramanasusi pratyana vurnavirati swapamapyasa dharmasya trayati matobayat. In this endeavor there's no loss. So one layer of devotional service after the other. Prabhupada said it's like when you have a glass of ink and you pour in this glass of ink milk. It's not that from one day to another the water is white, like milk. But you keep on pouring, and then the ink gradually flows out, and as you keep pouring milk in it, in due course of time, the whole glass will be full of milk. This is how that works. Gradual process, by hearing and chanting, and keep on doing this process, And I can tell you from my own experience that my spiritual life now is way different from when I joined. Way different, and it was not achieved by muscle power. It's not that I'm muscled. It's just by simply, like Prabhupada says, what is it? Steady drop. What is it? Steter Tropfen hüllt, ist ein deutsches Sprichwort. Steter Tropfen hüllt den Stein. If you, a simple drop of water, if it pours on the same stone long enough, there will be a hole gradually. Ultimately, it will pierce, the soft water will pierce the stone in due course of time. So in the same way, devotional service, that we can be absolutely sure that in our process of feeding the tree, the root of the tree, in due course of time, all the fruits will be there. We can be sure of that. And I can, even in my short life of Krishna consciousness, maybe not so short, 50 years, on the 1st of December, 1st of January, 2022, that means in 4 months, 5 months, something, 50 years, there's a difference, a vast difference. When we join, we are just, particularly in the West, we are full of lust and anger and greed and this and that, fighting. And so, gradually, Prabhupada said it's imperceptible. The progress in Krishna consciousness is imperceptible, but it is guaranteed, it is 100%. Man may, in the material world, refrain from sense gratification, but the taste remains. That's why a person falls down, because the taste is still there. But ceasing such engagement by developing a higher taste, this is the thing, by developing a higher taste, he's situated in God consciousness. The whole secret of devotional life is to develop a higher taste, to develop a thirst for truth. thirst for truth. Even in the Bible, sorry that I come back to that, but you should all know that there's a difference between the historical Jesus and the official church Jesus. These are two different things. And the original Jesus said, "Blessed are those who thirst for truth." There you have it. Who thirst for truth. They're blessed. If you have real taste for Krishna, you're very blessed. To such an extent that ultimately you cannot fall back in the material world if the taste is strong enough. So we are developing gradually by this process of hearing and chanting and serving and seeing the deity and performing Rath Yatra and other festivals. We are developing a strong taste for devotional life. And some people very quickly develop their taste. I have only one experience of that Bhakti True Swami. I was in a temple, I was actually, at that time I think I was a temple president, and he joined. No, I was not anymore. I was in another temple, but I came to Hamburg. I was in charge for Heidelberg, and there was this young Indian boy. He was studying engineering in college in Hamburg. And he came, a couple of times, and then gradually he expressed that he would become more serious, and then next thing we hear that he left Germany, and he went to India. Next news that came in is that he just took initiation from Prabhupada. Next thing we hear, he took Brahmin initiation, I think even on the same day. And then after 3 months, the message came, he's sannyasi. I mean, we didn't understand the word anymore. How is that possible? You see, how is that possible? And this question was asked by one devotee, by one Western devotee, Srila Prabhupada. We all have to wait for taking initiation from you. And Brahman also we have to wait. And how come that he is sannyasi after 3 months or something? And you know what his answer was? Anybody knows? He said he was more advanced when he was born than you now. That was Prabhupada's smashing answer. That he was more advanced at the time of birth than you are now. So some people, they're way ahead of us, and some people less. It depends on previous life, and it depends on capacity and desire and engagement and all these things. That you have people like Jayananda, who was so advanced right from the beginning, that we are remembering his appearance there and disappearance there in the ISKCON calendar. He was so advanced. And he had such taste for serving Prabhupada. That's all his life was serving Prabhupada, So that taste is available to us. And it surely will increase the more we stay in Krishna consciousness. Every day is a gain. Like Prabhupada said, in the spiritual world, every step is a dance, and every word is a song. So we will get there. We will get there, all of us, for sure, if we continue on this path. In this endeavor, there's no loss and no diminution. There was a Jewish boy in Amsterdam, and you don't know, in India, you have no knowledge of Jewish people, but they're very mercantile, they're very business related and extremely business related. And so this boy was met by one of our devotees on the street, little Jewish boy. And the boy tried to sell him the Bhagavad Gita. And he said, well, what's in it for me? He said, well, look, he opened the verse. And he read, in this endeavor there is no loss. He said, no loss. He said, I'm coming from a business family. I know there's always gain and there's loss. In this endeavor, that's the best business I ever heard. He said, he bought the Bhagavad Gita and became a Hare Krishna devotee. On this little thing, in this endeavor, there's no loss. He understood, and it is true. In this endeavor, there's no loss. Even, you see, say, for example, you bring me, I'm a mechanic for a moment, and you bring me your car, right? Engine is broken. And I work on it for a day or two, right? But I can't complete it, because, so you go to him and to me and pick up the car,